In this episode, we touched down in New Orleans. We sip Sazeracs with ghosts in the legendary French Quarter. We feast in the Garden District on James Beard award-winning coastal Louisiana cuisine. We witness the power of art to preserve history and pave the future of this great city. We sway to the sounds of American music at the legendary Jazz and Heritage Festival. And a blind Beignet taste test settles the question: Loretta's or Café du Monde? This city celebrates culture with a capital C. This is the WTAF Show, New Orleans. Our ideas of what it means to be an American would be so very different if we spent more than 5 minutes on New Orleans in U.S. history classes. Founded in 1682, you simply won't find another city here that looks like, sounds like, or tastes like it. Born of a wide range of Creole, French, African diaspora, Caribbean, and indigenous roots, the impact of this city on American food, art, music, and culture is undeniable. And yet it's often overlooked or left to stereotypes. Think a drunken Mardi Gras or the lasting scars of devastating hurricanes. Today, New Orleans is rising above its typecasts, with chefs, artists, and community leaders proudly advancing its music, art, and food scenes as core to the American experience. Not to mention its spiritual side, right down to the real estate signs. Times Square isn't New York, and Bourbon Street sure as hell isn't the Big Easy. It's true that ghost tours, vampire bars, museums, witchcraft, and hoodoo shops can be found on nearly every French Quarter street. The late best-selling author Anne Rice set most of her tales here, writing novels like Interview with the Vampire in her mansion on Beale Street. But much of the city's mysticism and ghost tales have real ties to women, real women who lived in this city, some of whom were misunderstood in their time, such as Marie Laveau, a hoodoo priestess, midwife, and early pioneer of medical and holistic practices we take seriously today. The best ghost stories lurk in far more intimate settings, like a Sazerac sitting on a bar shelf. Why is it there? Ask the bartenders and they'll tell you it keeps Aunt Rose happy each night. Sylvain takes its name from the city's first opera, and today it's a self-described, unruly southern bistro a stone's throw off Jackson Square. Its 1700s carriage house setting is the original home of Aunt Rose, a madam of a nearby brothel who stood over 6 feet tall with flaming red hair. After a Sazerac toast, we dove straight into menu classics: champagne and frites, crab dumplings, blackened trumpet mushrooms with heirloom grits, and the iconic chicken sandwich. And a conversation about our own ambitions and mortalities as GenX women. Cheers to you, Aunt Rose.
You stole my French fry. I left it in there.
I don't know why.
I was letting it soak up a little bit more of the...
Marinade?
I was letting it marinate. This house was owned by this woman who ran a business here in the French Quarter in the 1800s. She was the madam of a brothel. Her spirit is still here.
Yeah.
And so then why the drink? Well, the drink is set out for her each night.
Yeah.
And the other bartender also turns and joins the conversation, and both of them, without smirk, without any sort of sarcasm, said, if we don't put out the drink, shit goes sideways.
Better appease these spirits.
The Sazerac is gorgeous. It's so delicious. Even Diana likes it.
Crab and dumplings.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh,
pretty.
beautiful.
Y'all enjoy?
Thank you. I feel like I'm entering this phase of my life,
Yeah.
stumbling forward,
Yes.
and I'm terrified.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I'm like, why am I terrified? Like, I refuse, I reject this notion of calling myself a senior citizen at this age. I reject it outright. But there is still so little that has actually been shown to me in terms of how I should be living as a 53-year-old woman.
Right.
And that's the other thing too, is that it's different for everybody. Whatever's happening to me is not happening to you.
No.
But my God, like again, menopause. Every woman goes through this, and your equipment just shuts off, and you're fine. And you're gonna be fat, and you're gonna look, doughy.
It's a whole thing.
Oh my God, that's fucking
It's
good.
a whole thing. Pause. Pause for Kelly's. Taking it in.
Jesus Christ, that is delicious.
Yeah.
Delicious. Please continue. I was ranting and now I'm eating.
No two women are the same when it
Right.
comes to that. So for me, like three biggest things are the brain fog. I'm finding hard grasping for words sometimes. I'm just like, if I want to say a tree, I'm like, the green thing. The green.
Yes.
Like, where are these words? And like, as a writer, that's scary. Kelly, I'm gonna tell you, as a writer, that shit fucks me up. It fucks me up, like the brain fog. And then realizing that, shit, if I don't move my body, my mental health suffers.
Right.
And then I just don't feel good. And I'm not even talking about like doing HIIT or running up and down and, you know, climbing mountains and shit. It's just like a little 30-minute walk every day. That really does wonders. And now that it's like, you know, warming up, I'm going back into the park. And then the third thing, obviously, is the weight gain. And for me, it's like a rapid weight gain.
Yeah.
I won't even look at the scale anymore.
Nope.
I won't even look at the scale anymore. And even though, and again, it's like all back to the diet. It's all back to the liver. So I haven't eaten meat. I'm off meat. I'm mostly pescatarian. And I'm off dairy. And I've noticed a difference. I mean, and I've been having some knee issues, which acupuncture used to work for it, but it just hasn't in the last month or so. So I'm just gonna have to go to Western medicine and see what they say, because my knee is like inflamed. I'm not a grits person. This is so good. So Kelly, you start to dip your fries in this. Let's try. God, you need that.
For a good sauce.
You need that. That's fire.
I love their
Oh,
sandwich.
you're having a moment.
I'm having a moment.
Yeah, there was
I
there
love
was
this
some, there's some definite.
You need a room, babe.
This is a kink sounds over there.
This is my kink.
Oh
Thanks,
my
Chris.
God. I don't even like grits. But I like this.
God, that's good. Jesus. We have the privilege of being middle-aged. We have the privilege of being Gen Xers, of going through menopause.
Yeah, for living this long, here's to
For
that
living
shit.
this, and here's to living for another 50, babe.
Yay!
And now, a word from our sponsor. For Gen X women like me, we're experiencing massive physical, mental, emotional, and relational changes in our lives. I've been a BetterHelp patient since 2023, and I just love it. The access to my licensed therapist via the app, it makes it easy for me to stay connected and mindful of my mental well-being, no matter where I am in the world. Getting started is a snap. Go to BetterHelp.com, use the code WTAF, and you'll get 10% off your first month of services. We can and should live life and age on our own terms.
The Central City neighborhood is a living testament to the American Civil Rights Movement. Power of art as a call to action. Standing in the middle of this district, the Ashe Cultural Arts Center works to help Central City overcome decades of Jim Crow laws, boycotts, steep economic declines, gentrification, and natural disasters to preserve and ensure a thriving neighborhood that honors the past while looking ahead. Ashe isn't just a museum, despite 30,000 combined square feet of gallery and performance spaces. The center is an ecosystem builder, an innovator and sustainer of programming and services that support and celebrate the area's core in the African diaspora. It even holds its own Central City real estate portfolio.
You know, we're standing firm and unapologetic in who we are and what we do, and continuing to reassert, you know, our right to stay here in New Orleans, but also emphasizing art as this paradigm shifting agent for change. So you'll see a lot of art that is, you know, speaks to the culture of New Orleans, speaks to the expansiveness of Blackness, that is very unapologetic. It was one of the few spaces for Black people to gather and to organize. And, you know, we're here on historic Aretha Castle Haley Boulevard, which was formerly Dryad Street, but renamed for the civil rights advocate Aretha Castle Haley. So, we are located in Central City, which is a, historically Black neighborhood, and a lot of history that lies in this area, especially around organizing and art and movement. So Ashe has kind of just been that hub where, if there was nowhere else for people to go, a lot of artists say that, they had their first show here at Ashe, or Ashe was the first place to pay them to do a poem or to perform. So it's kind of always had this spirit of, if you can't come anywhere else, our doors are open. And, this is the place to get started, but also to see your art really flourish here. So really trying to, elevate and show all the ways that Black art can be seen in spaces that you may not be used to seeing it. And New Orleans is a festival city, so, we got to get in with the festival game.
Across the street from Ashe stands one of his real estate investments. This is Afro Lux Lounge, an event space currently in development for a boutique hotel. Asante Salam is a visual artist who hails from New Orleans civil rights royalty. She is currently director of the Healis Foundation, John Scott Center, and a former director of the city's Office of Cultural Economy. She's worked with some of the greatest art institutions in the U.S., Ashe, the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival Foundation, the Louisiana State Museum, the National Endowment for the Arts, and the Joan Mitchell Foundation.
I did special events and graphic design, and it was still creative things.
Sure.
I was always a creative, so I never left creative pursuits, and probably comparatively it was super creative. But it was a time like, oh, I don't even have art supplies. I don't even have studio. I don't even practice. And I came back to it through a healing process. I was diagnosed with an illness, and I was like, okay, tap into my intuition, use my guidance. I need to go home to New Orleans. I need to really take my time and delve in, do daily practice of my art, and I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. I don't know what I'm gonna make, and because I just took it for granted, I think. And now I'm 53, about to make 54, and this is the first time that I'm really paying attention, like, okay, I need to put focal point on being an artist as a profession, not because people call me and want to commission paintings, or people see something I've made and say, can I buy that? I've never really made a pursuit of it. It was always like just a part of me.
I'm drawing some parallels between you two now.
Yeah.
I don't even know if you realize.
Oh, big time. Big time.
Okay.
So first of all, you said, you were known as an event planner or a graphic designer, and I'm like, well, those are very corporate terms. Those are jobs.
Yeah.
You're known for the job. Not the creativity per se, but what are the skills that you can put into a job that you get paid to do? And I'm a 30 plus year careerist, and by the way, I'm also 53 years old, and so I'm like, there's a lot of parallels here.
And what does it look like for me to do that as art making? This is part of me thriving as an artist, living in New Orleans with my parents who are aging, who have contributed to the city, who have legacies, and what does that look like to create that? Is that a art piece, or is that an art practice? Does that move me into community and urban planning, community development, urban planning? Or I'm an artist.
Yeah.
What does it mean to create that and co-create?
So one of my best friends grew up with quite the family tradition. Trips to the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival, JazzFest for short. For her 50th birthday, a group of us made the trek, and JazzFest simply blew me away. Seeing my birthday twin Erykah Badu that year is a moment I'll never forget. If you're a fan of live music, imagine a festival with stages and tents pumping out every genre of music that has roots in New Orleans. Rock, blues, country, gospel, rap, R&B, indigenous, and more. Since 1970, the festival has blended the genres while presenting an intersection of international acts that reflect the history of the music here, like the Rolling Stones, Foo Fighters, Neil Young, Bonnie Raitt, and one of my favorites, Queen Latifah. and they draw in major crowds each year. It's also the best place to sample every cuisine this region is known for. There are local chefs who have long been the faces for grocery aisle Cajun seasonings. Think the late Chef Prudhomme and Chef Emeril Lagasse. But it's women chefs working in the city who are defining its flavors and dishes today. We took in two of the city's top dining experiences. First, Compère Le Pain. French for Brother Rabbit, this spot in the Warehouse Arts District is helmed by top chef alum Nina Compton, and both Eater and CNN have dubbed it as one of America's best restaurants. Drawing from her childhood in San Lucia, Chef Compton fuses Caribbean and New Orleans flavors. Blackened pig ears with smoked aioli, peel and eat broiled shrimp with chili butter and cilantro, curry goat, and crispy branzino. Then, just off the Garden District, a small house with a screened-in porch is home to perhaps the best tasting menu experience of our lives. The Mosquito Supper Club is a seasonal Cajun dining experience, open annually from September to June. Through each course, cookbook author and chef Melissa Martin tells the story of fisherfolk and farmers along coastal Louisiana. On this particular night, they were celebrating the 10th anniversary with their original tasting menu, a family-style multi-course meal, the same approach that earned Chef Martin Best Chef honors at the 2022 James Beard Awards. Joining us were Asante Salam, entrepreneur and business marketing coach Tracy Morgan, and LaShonda Pickett-Renee, a policy development and advocacy consultant who currently works with Ashe.
I'm gonna scoop on the way by.
So good. I'm like, all I need is that and a bottle of cold white sitting on the deck in the summer.
Yeah.
That's dinner.
Yep.
That's all it needs to be. I would be so happy with that for dinner.
I have a great recipe that I'll share with you that you can doctor up. But like the base of a nice smoked fish dip is.
Tracy,
It's
there's
probably
one more.
inappropriate to drink
I've still got one
the
here.
broth, but that broth looks like
I don't know if that's
dipper.
Isn't that just called chipino? It's like,
Basically,
if they
yeah.
would just put a big spoon in there instead of the tongs, it would be chipino.
Nobody would even be asking about it.
Yeah. I
The
love salty
pickled
raw.
onions plus the smoke
That's what gives it
plus the
depth.
roe.
Plus the
And
raw.
I like
Plus
the
the
dry hardiness of it and not so mayonnaise like
Yep.
spread.
It's
really
crab.
salady like
It's
right.
crab.
Right.
I just want
Which
to
I
have
think is
the
lovely too, but-
Perpetual and the butter and the biscuit. Like
That butter. Oh, look.
Sounds like dinner.
No, D, you gotta go up. Just roll
I
the
feel like
butter.
I need a facial with that butter.
Listen, I can put it in some places, girl.
And it's moist. I imagine it's moisturizing and creamy.
Mark the time. This is when it starts to slide off into the abyss.
It's officially
Look, more wine. Oh,
Dutch oven.
y'all, this right here.
Ciabatta.
So
I'll be
people
Googling
always
tonight.
ask, what's etouffee, what's bisque, what's the difference between bisque, etouffee, and Creole? This is bisque.
Yeah.
It's not etouffee, but it is delicious.
Can we serve up for
Which
you?
way do we want to go?
You want?
This feels like your town.
I'm gonna be the first to say welcome home. I love
Yes.
Just so you understand that the insurance is ridiculously
Right.
expensive.
Right.
The potholes are
Insane.
all encompassing.
Those are
Right.
amazing.
Half the neighborhoods flood every time it rains because
Yeah.
infrastructure here is like a 300-year-old town,
Right.
200-year-old town.
Permits and licensing don't make sense.
I can only imagine. I mean, there's a number of things, but again, if you can like compartmentalize that and say that's the price we pay for having the experience of living in such a magical, wild, anything goes, but like everybody's accepted, size, shape, piercings, hair, tattoos, like whatever you got is accepted here, celebrated. I think if you can balance that stuff out and find your people, I think that's the other thing too, is I don't think it's hard to find your people here, but boy, when you do, it's like, oh.
You really can get, I don't know, pretty much anywhere in New Orleans in about 20 minutes. And so the fact that we're so close, but also fiercely rooted in identity is something that I don't think is easy to find elsewhere.
Oh, for sure.
And the amalgam of people, culture, language, architecture, the texture of the place, the taste, the feel, the smell is just something you can't get anywhere else. So I do think that the idea of people living in a way that the purpose of living here is not to like have the biggest, most sprawling thing, right? The purpose of living here is having the deepest, most beautiful thing. So whatever that is for you, then you can find it here if it's your place. If it's not your place, then you find another place.
Spit you out.
Yeah, it does spit you out.
Because it'll be a hurricane or something else. You'll be like, I can't do this anymore.
Our conversation eventually turned to the devastation of living through 2021 when Hurricane Ida made landfall in the city. Wine selections were expertly paired with each course. Sweet potato biscuits with maple honey butter, smoked whitefish spread, peel and eat shrimp, crawfish bisque with crab-stuffed crawfish heads, fried stuffed crab with feta and pea rice, and a strawberry galette that was frankly orgasmic on the palate. We could have stayed all night.
Thankfully, we haven't had a real direct hit. I mean, Ida obviously was a little bit different, but not Katrina levels. Do you want to know where I was during Ida? At the Minnesota State Fair. And my boyfriend and the 2 dogs were stuck in the house for 4 days because the water came up 6 foot under our house on the North Shore, and it sat for 4 days.
Wow.
Meaning the whole underside of the house was completely ruined, and in fact the foundation twisted a little bit. Hence why the house got totaled. I didn't know you could total a house. You could total a house.
The first day, I drove around looking for gas, looking for candles. We got back to the house. I sat in front of the house. We were in the car for AC because there was no AC.
Sure.
And I sat there and I said,
charging the phones.
In charging the phones. And I was like, I have options. I was like, there's no way that I need to stay here. I just don't need to be here right now. But what it does also remind me is that there are lots of people who don't have options.
That's what I was going to say too.
And can't just say, y'all get a suitcase and get in the car.
2025 is going to be the 20-year anniversary of Katrina. And if it were to hit again, do you think the government would react differently? Would they move more quickly to help?
So the conversations that we're in, what does it look like to be sustainable? How to have a battery wall so that you're not at the mercy. How to have your water management in place so that you are not dependent on what the government does or doesn't do. We can only
learn not to count on them.
Exactly.
has taught us that.
We have to count on ourselves, our families, and each other in our neighborhoods and what that means.
It's not a person by person issue.
Right.
It's a systemic and structural issue. And so even if we have charging stations and little solar whatevers, it's about what the city and the state is willing to invest in the space and in the place and then the people there. That
in the people.
In the people.
Ladies, cheers.
Wow.
Cheers, everyone. Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you again.
Cheers.
Such a pleasure.
Treme is America's oldest neighborhood of free people of color. New Orleans was first and foremost a free man's city, a place where the term Creole emerged from an intersection of cultures that include Native American, Spanish, French, and African. The New Orleans African-American Museum sits on almost 2 acres of land and provides an immersive experience that takes visitors back in time and celebrates contemporary art with exceptional exhibitions. The sprawling property also includes historical shotgun shacks, as well as the original home of Marie Laveau.
This is actually one of our permanent exhibits, the Everywhere We Are, Everywhere We Go. It gives us pretty much a timeline of Black people's history, their contributions to New Orleans starting from the 1800s on up to now. So you can see like where we have Louis Armstrong, where we have the Cold Noir, we have the Seventh Ward Civic League, and all of these men and women, they've stamped New Orleans, they've made New Orleans what it is today, especially in this neighborhood, Treme, which is, if not the first, the second oldest Black town neighborhood in the country. So we have a big culture of masking Indians.
Yes.
It gives us it shows our appreciation to the Indians that were here and how African Americans and Indians linked up, and they supported each other basically.
Yeah.
So every year usually during Mardi Gras time, you'll see all of the different tribes from all over the city come out and they'll show their most beautiful costumes that they hand bead every year. They usually hand bead it. Yes, it takes usually a year.
The Maroon Queen has been a Mardi Gras parade character since the late 18th century, a symbol of the strong roots New Orleans bears from the African diaspora. The Maroon Queen is embodied today by local educator and artist Sharice Harrison Nelson, who has played the character for decades. It's now on display with bright, beautiful handmade costumes embellished with beads, feathers, shells, and more.
She's always bringing like different groups or schools to come on through and see the work. She also has a film that she's kind of working on and a play as well, just to really depict what she has been doing in her life's work as the Maroon Queen. So it's beautiful, and we're so proud to have her work here. So this to be like kind of her start to break out into the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We are in our historic garden area. So these bricks that I told you about before, these were handmade. All of the materials were gathered from the river. They'll walk up the Chitamacha Trail, come back here, and then make these bricks.
So these are
the
bricks that we're standing on today, made by the enslaved.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for a lot of us that work here, like we always say we're called to work here.
Yeah.
And honestly, it is very much true. Like the work that we do here it is purpose work for us. And we know we're doing a lot of the work that our ancestors started. So I was telling you before that there's only about 13 original families in the Treme area right now. So Gia, she has started this oral histories called Where the People At, and this is just kind of the beginning stages. This was Marie Laveau's home, where all of her original families from the Treme, they will confirm and say, yeah, no, that's where she lived. So we are definitely making sure that we upkeep this building, all of these buildings, and wanting to do something that is more fitting for the community and for the space. So this is literally walking on history.
Wow.
Yep.
Behold the beignet. Thanks to centuries of culinary excellence, mixed with a bit of smart tourist marketing, these soft, pillowy, deep-fried French pastries are as synonymous with New Orleans as etouffee, Sunday boils, and beans and rice on Monday. Café du Monde is the best-known spot for beignets, to the point where lines can run long with flocks of tourists waiting for an order. But I find the beignets from Loretta's, a shop best known for its pralines, far superior to Café du Monde. I decided to enlist Diana to settle the score. Which beignet reigns supreme?
You like beignets?
I like beignets.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Think you could tell the difference between a Café du Monde and a different one?
I'm up for the challenge. I could eat.
I want to see which one you think tastes better. Is a Café du Monde worth it, or should you walk a couple blocks down and have a Loretta's? You know, and I mean, literally, Loretta's, women-owned, black-owned, local. They're delish. Well, I'm gonna walk down and I'm gonna get some.
Okay.
We're gonna do a blind taste test.
Ooh.
We're gonna see which one rises to the top. Don't lose our seat.
Right there.
It's time for a blind taste test.
Let's see what we
So
got.
these are both plain beignets.
Okay.
Okay. And here, have a couple napkins. All right. That's all right.
Okay. All right, this one is like drowned in sugar. All right, here we go.
Here we go.
Second vanilla. All right. This is lighter in texture. The other one I could taste cinnamon. I could taste the spice. This is just fried dough and powder. This is the Café du Monde one.
Yeah, it is. The first one was the Loretta's.
Yeah. So, Loretta's wins.
Loretta's wins.
Loretta's wins!
You simply will not find another city in the U.S. like New Orleans. Whether you're an American or planning a trip to this country, you can't have a truly American experience without a visit here. And frankly, our history is better for it. So make it a point to visit and take it all in. The tastes, the sounds, the history, the art, and even the ghosts.